One, Wake Forest at home is one of the best teams in the country. Two, I guess court storming is one of the most divisive and polarizing acts in sports. We'll attack both. We'll start with the game. Wake Forest at home is one of the best teams in the country.
15-0.
Can they find a way to play their entire postseason in Joel in Winston-Salem? If they could do that, I might pencil them in all the way to the Final Four. If they could play all of their games in Winston-Salem. Would Greensboro count? Is this one of the years where if the ACC tournament was held in Greensboro, Winston, would Wake Forest win the whole thing?
Maybe. Close enough.
Instead, it's DC. So, I mean, they are a different team at home than they are on the road. And it's, at this point, it must be mental. Because I don't see how, like, I don't know, walking out of a different tunnel makes you so much better than playing on the road. Are they just the most, routine creatures on the planet and having to wake up in a hotel is just the worst thing in the world for them? The starting five showed up for Wake Forest in a way that makes me get really excited for their team. Hunter Salas scored 29 and was the best player on the court for long stretches. Here's Steve Forbes on what makes Salas so darn difficult to defend.
I guess it's very rare you have a guy that can score at three different levels like that, like at a high, like at an elite level. Like he is an elite player at the rim, off the dribble. He's an elite pull-up jumper, which is probably the hardest of them all. And he's a very confident three-point shooter off the catch and off the bounce. That's hard. There's very few guys that can do that. There's very few guys that I've coached that could do that.
It sounded like he almost surprised himself with how many good things Hunter Salas did. And off the bounce. But it wasn't just Salas. Andrew Carr, Boopie Miller, Cameron Hildreth all scored in the teens. And Efton Reed stayed out of foul trouble long enough to play 33 minutes. Consider that a small victory because he has a difficult task down low against some of the guys Duke was bringing to the table. That was a very, very impressive win for Wake Forest. The type of win that should have boosted them comfortably into the NCAA tournament. We'll talk later in the show why it's messed up that Joe Lunardi has them as bracketologist for ESPN, has them as just the second team from missing out. They're the 67 out of 68 teams in the tournament right now. It's messed up because they just beat the number 8 team in the country and looked very much like they belonged beating the number 8 team in the country. And from the Duke side, Duke didn't play bad. Duke gave them the fastball look.
And call it what it was. That game was fun.
It was fun. It was
great. highly intense, just a high level of efficiency on both sides. It was a great game.
It very much was not like, oh, Duke had an off night and Wake benefited from it. It was, no, McCain hit some big shots. Salas answered. Filipowski made some plays. Carr answered. Jeremy Roach did the whole Jeremy Roach thing where it's like, does he have 50? He's got 16. Does he have 12 yet? What is he, 10? Oh, no, he's hit a bunch of shots and he's steady Eddie. Duke played well. Wake just played better. And there's nothing wrong with either side of that. Wake Forest at home. We're getting to bracketology time. We're talking about bracketology. We're getting to the good wins, bad losses part of the season. This is not anywhere near a bad loss for Duke. This is one that will not be on their graphic. Right? It will not be. It will be a good win for Wake. It will not be a bad loss for Duke. They have others that are significantly worse. Big win for Wake, which is why they stormed the court.